I'm now going to kind of talk about some of my influences. So one of my influences is Charles March. He's a contemporary photographer. I don't know whether he's still practicing now. I haven't found many recent pieces of work. He's quite a small in scale with his work. If you Google, you can't really get much up, but the things that you can get, I really like. The effects that his work give are very, I would say, accidental, which is also what I like. Once again, you're capturing nature and things at a time where it's very spontaneous time and you just capture that moment. And obviously his work, here, I'll also put a few more on the screen in a second while I'm talking. His work's very spontaneous, just the way that the camera is capturing all of the different senses of movement in his work. I've looked on the online collection of his work and it's very clear to see that he's built up a very good working relationship with monochrome and his capturing of the motion with the black and white. He's managed to do that. So obviously I'm still going to try and experiment. I still want to try and master the idea of capturing a natural presence in black and white. But it's just one of those things at the moment where I'm just going to push to the side and I'm going to come back to it eventually. But right now I just feel like I've got so much more from him as an artist that I can just pull from. His work's very trial and error. Like, I don't think if he went out to recreate some of his work, or I went to recreate in the sort of style, using the same sort of effects, I don't think I'd be able to get them, because it just looks like he's got a slow exposure time on the camera, and it's very ghostly in some of them. The black and white ones come off quite ghostly, so even though there is a presence there, it's not necessarily a positive one. It's rather eerie, and whereas the warmer coloured ones and the more lighter forest ones, they seem to have more of a light-hearted sense around them. Yeah, I just really, really like it. Like, yeah. I tried recreating some of my work to go with his. What I've done is I took some images. Once again, these weren't the 3 original images that I've been working with. I took some of the other ones I wanted because I wanted to get a different angle. I think once you've already set one image with a certain aura, it's kind of hard trying sometimes to pull that away and replace it with a different sense of feeling. So what I did was I took several images. These images, I found an online editing software where it kind of like deteriorated the images. Yeah, where it kind of deteriorated the images, and I kind of done it in a 3-step process where I'd take the original image and I would tone it down a little bit with this image, with this effect. Then I would turn it down a little bit more, and then I would turn it down even further, so until I got to the final thing, and I would just let those 3 images, I put them up together so you can just see the general degrading image. I feel that this is just going from being really light-hearted, and you're just pulling it through and just changing the sense of feeling that the viewer can get by just looking at this image, just by changing the tones and stuff. Some of the images that I tried doing this on didn't work as well as the others. For this one, for example, the first original image, because it was more of a scenic shot, it didn't have much tone in it to begin with, so when I started adding the effect, it kind of pulled away and kind of blurred everything into one. Pulled the image all into one big blurry mess, and it kind of gave the effect of like I would say like an old CCTV camera or an old black and white TV box set that just hasn't got the aerial tweaked just slightly. You know, when the image kind of shakes slightly and it's got those lines that kind of come down it. I don't know why I'm doing this. So as you can see by looking at this image, it's really not the greatest image that I could have produced. I did this effect then one more time. To me, this is the best one. And the main focus point, and then it had the items in the background. The effect, I feel, pulled really well out on all of the different tones and the colours, which was in the original piece of wood in the foreground. And yeah, I'll pop them on here now. So you have the lighter one, which we then turned it down a bit more. And then we turned it down for the final one. And yeah, by looking at this final one, I was just like, wow, this looks really good. Like, I feel that this is giving off such a strong sense of movement, just with the way it's been, the colours are in the background as well. It's not 100% black and white, which is just brilliant. I didn't really actually know how much post-editing and post-production could actually affect an image until I started playing around with the different effects and stuff. I just think it's really good. Like, I just wanted to carry on with it, so I did quite a lot of experiments which didn't really turn out too great, so I didn't really pull on them too much in the rest of my work, just these 3 sets of images. But I think that I've really learned a lot from looking at other artists' work. For example, Charles March's work. I feel that his work is like shown just ever so slightly as an influence in mine, just basically because of the idea of the movement in the images, the colours of the images, and that sense of presence and the unease in the black and white images.